Wow, that's a good question because I consider myself a young entrepreneur still trying to make it. Like Luke said, Mike, you taking pictures with everybody.
Always trying, bro. We're always grinding.
always grinding. So it's like, it's funny because like people, like I've been getting a lot of good feedback and like, man, you got something great. You're doing some great things. Wow. Like I really like what you're doing. How could I do that? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I look at you guys. I look at a lot of the people I meet through you guys. I'm like, I'm nowhere near that yet. You know what I mean? But it's like, you're in the grind. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to see like how far you actually like came, you know what I mean? So what I would tell young entrepreneurs is just to like me and again, like I have my own beliefs as it relates to like God and everything like that. Like I believe you got to keep God first. All the things that we've accomplished, all we had was just that one like sponsorship check. And we were able to do what we've done with $1,000. Our students had between like scholarships and grants, $600,000 in scholarships and grants, and that's only on $1,000.
That's a good return.
That's it, only on $1,000, and which we didn't really have much to really like spend it on. But I mean, because we were trying to like keep as much as possible because all we had was just $1,000. To just like we had a lot of people that actually really helped us out a lot and donated different things. I will tell young entrepreneurs, like, you gotta just keep grinding. You gotta like just be dedicated and be hungry and humble, you know, and just also like have people that are already doing what you're doing that's successful. Get around those people, develop relationships with them, be willing to listen and learn. And just be a student.
Hello, St. Louis. Thank you again for tuning in to another week of the St. Louis Bucket List Show. I'm your host, Marissa Farrell.
And I am your other host, Luke Farrell. And we just can't thank you guys enough for all the immense support coming off of our Locals Choice Award, hitting 100,000 followers on Instagram, and really just building a podcast up from the ground up. And couldn't do it without our friends over here at Half Coast Studios, Matt in the back on the ones and twos, flexible with our busy schedule, getting us in when we need to record a podcast. But not only that, editing the video, putting it on YouTube, putting it on Google. Shout out to Half Coast Studios, along with our good friends over at the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. If you guys didn't know, they're one of the main presenting sponsors of our podcast. And the reason why is because we believe that arts and culture are a vital part of St. Louis. And as much as we can do to highlight that and use our platform to grow the art scenes in St. Louis, we're going to do that. So we're going to have a really great episode today. We have a special guest that has collabed with us in the past on some projects. But Dr. Mike Gibson is in the studio today. And we're going to talk about the Young Professionals Academy. We're going to get into all of that. But before we do that, let's get right to the root of it. And we want to know who Dr. Mike Gibson is. What's your childhood? Where are you from? What high school did you go to? Tell us all.
Yeah. So born and raised St. Louis, Missouri, U City to be exact, Nellyville.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in U City all my life, went through U City public schools, and then I went to DeSmet for high school. At the time, DeSmet and a lot of the other private schools were doing heavy recruiting for athletes to build their program. So I went to DeSmet, got that private school experience.
And right down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Right down the street.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Great experience. But I transferred later to U City High School, graduated from U City. Then I got a football scholarship to play at Missouri Valley College. And I played there for a little while. During my sophomore year, I transferred to Lindenwood University. That's where I got all my degrees, from Lindenwood. So I got my bachelor's in sports management. Then I stayed and got an MBA. Then I also got the doctorate in education at Lindenwood.
Dr. Gibson.
Shout out Lindenwood. They're a great sports school too. They got a lot of athletic programs there too.
They just actually transitioned to D1,
which is huge
this year.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yes, they did.
Division I school. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's huge. So did you play football there, or did you?
So I transferred there to play football, but funny thing is, at the time they were transitioning from NAIA to Division II.
Mm.
And when schools go through a transition process, they have what you call a blackout year. So the blackout year is that you can compete, but it doesn't like qualify you for anything. So you can't play in any championships or anything. Like I could have, like for example, they wanted me to run track out there. I could have ran faster than Usain Bolt, and it wouldn't mean anything,
Right.
at all.
It wouldn't take you anywhere.
Exactly. At all. Like it wouldn't. Right. So, and then also at the time, I had I was going through like the transfer cycle, and it's a process. And the school that I went to, Missouri Valley, it was in the same conference as Lindenwood. So I had to like sit out for a year. Like I could have played on the team, but I couldn't actually play in the games. And it was my junior year. So I was at a crossroads. So I had to decide, do I want to pursue sports or do I want to just focus on my education? And as you guys can see, you see what choice I made.
Education path. That's right.
And who know? I never know I would have became a doctor. So
That's
in
crazy.
education.
So let's talk about school really quick, because
Okay.
now you got titles and titles attached to your name. And, you know, school obviously is important to you because here you are, you went through it, you have a bunch of titles, and you are an educator currently. So who is your favorite teacher in school growing up?
Oh wow. That's interesting. That's a great question.
Okay.
That's
you know, I feel like every teacher has a favorite teacher because that's almost what
That's
led
true.
us to get to this point.
That is true, because when I think of my favorite teacher, I think of so when I was in first grade,
Mhm.
Mr. Whitner, he was my favorite teacher because here's the thing, he was from a different culture. A lot of Jewish people stayed in my neighborhood like
Really?
years ago.
Mhm.
And he was a Jewish teacher, and at the time the school transitioned over to just African American. But him and was like one other teacher that was there that was not African American. And I remember being in kindergarten, I used to always get in trouble a lot.
Chatty, just
I wouldn't even say so much that, and it kind of goes to why I'm doing the work that I do.
yeah.
I think that I was misunderstood, and I never met a white person like personally
Mhm.
until like I got to kindergarten and I had a white teacher. And I think that kind of played a part in why I got in trouble so much. It was
Yeah.
like immediately I was always thrown out of class, and I was sent to Mr. Whitner's class because there was a young lady. So like we had a babysitter, and she had like some grandkids that were older than me who
Mhm.
always look out for me. And the school knew that, so they always sent me to Mr. Whitner's class because they knew that one of the young ladies was like almost like a sister to me at the time.
Yeah.
But Mr. Whitner will always make me feel like welcome in his class. I didn't feel like I was a bad kid. He will always have me to come in and like, stand here, Michael. All right. He'll teach class. I'm just standing there.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, give me some, he's like, you want some Cheetos? You want some nuts? Or you want some pecans or something like that? And, you know, like he always cracked jokes and stuff like that, and didn't make me feel like I was a bad kid, and just always had me standing next to him in class while he would teach.
That's
So then
awesome.
first grade, they actually put me in his class.
Wow.
But then I had another teacher
After
named Ms.
that.
Willis
Mhm.
in fourth grade that she was always encouraging and always pushed me. And this was the first time I ever had a 4.0 GPA. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's kind of hard for me just to identify, because I think of four teachers, and these four teachers really played a part in my my passion and for education, and really bringing out of me my like the different gifts that I had that I didn't know that I really
Right.
had. And so like Miss Willis was my fourth grade teacher. She's always encouraging. And then I had Miss Donegan when I was at U City during my junior year. And the crazy thing is, she used to always like push me hard, and I never understood that. I'm used to the coaches doing it, but not the teacher. And I used to get so mad at her.
You're like, why are you always on my case?
Like always. But then she, like, as I kept like getting to know her, and she pretty much showed me like, Michael, you're capable of doing work up here. You're doing work down here, but really you could do work up here. So she really pushed me. And then I had a teacher, a professor at Leonardwood named Rosenwasser. So Mr. Rosenwasser was my marketing professor, and he really got me interested in marketing. So I decided to get my MBA because of him. And the crazy thing is he was Jewish as well. And I'm like, I had these two men. They weren't African Americans. I didn't have that many African American male teachers who really pushed me a lot and supported me and encouraged me. Yeah. Then I had those two African American female teachers. One who like kind of like made me like feel real good, and another like kicked me in the butt.
Yeah.
So like I just put them all together as one.
Yeah. That's what got you where you are. I'm trying to be all those teachers in one, you know, the little kick in the butt, but like, you know, you got to loosen up a little bit and be encouraging at the same time. Be like, I'm right in you because I see your potential. So that's awesome that you had that growing up all throughout school, from, you know, elementary up to college.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would say like, so, and to like put the cherry on the top. So my mentor now, he actually really brought a lot out of me, and really like opened my eyes to allow me to see my potential. Because I had those 4 teachers. They helped lay the foundation, but I met him when I was a student at Leonardwood. And he actually told me, like, Mike, you're actually very, very intelligent. Like, you're very smart. Like, you are able to get straight A's. Because when I was at Leonardwood, I was in an environment of like, mainly it was a PWI, which we call an education predominantly white institution. And majority of the African American students that went to Leonardwood and to a lot of colleges was because they wanted to play sports, especially the African American guys. So when it came to the education, I didn't really feel that I was like on the same level as a lot of the white students that I was in class with. So I'm like, man, like, but I'm good on the football field though, and I'm great on the track. But he told me, like, no, you just as intelligent as they are. Like, you have that gift. And I was dating a girl at the time, and she always had straight A's. I mean, she knew what she wanted to be. She graduated high school with a 4.2 GPA, and I'm like, man, like I don't know like too many people that's as smart as you. And she was always getting straight A's in classes that people thought was difficult, like stats, A, biology, A. I'm like, man, how do you do that? But he told me, my mentor told me, like, you are just focusing on like sport. Your focus is split. You were focusing on sports, not so much education. And if you put that same energy into your education, you would thrive. You would do just as well. And guess what? I did.
Yes.
Sometimes all it takes is one person to tell you can for you to see it. You know, you have to see it to believe it, and sometimes people have to bring that out of you. So I kind of wanted to lead that into explaining to us and the audience like how education has been so monumental in your life and how it's brought you success and brought you passion and joy and all the above.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, and that's the crazy thing, is what I looked at as a challenge, what I looked at as a weakness became something that I was passionate about. Because whenever you look at something as being very difficult, like it's like a Mount Everest of a challenge, and then you find out like, whoa, wait, I'm good at this. Like, this is a gift that I actually have, but my mindset was just in the wrong place, and I just needed the right people behind me to support me. That right there is what really like opened me up into this whole world of education. And I noticed how once I just 100% like put my effort into like my studies at Leonardwood, I just really started to thrive, and it became easy to me. I'm like, wow, like this is not like what I thought it would be. And then I was enjoying the knowledge that I was getting. Like I'm always like, now to this day, like I all I do is research. I'm always researching things. So then, once I graduated with my MBA, I got my first job working in a university. So I thought that getting my start of job searching,
Mhm.
that like, and so at the beginning of January of that year, before I graduated, I thought that'd give me enough time to get my job because I was looking for like sports marketing jobs and
Yeah.
really trying to get into like the marketing field. So I applied for like 100 jobs, and I would get like a call or just a lot of those emails. Sorry, we're not interested. And I was so I felt bad, like man, they don't want me.
Discouraged.
And just felt rejected, you
Mm.
know. But I just kept going. I put over 100 applications in. And then I finally got opportunity to work at the Harris Stowe State University. So I got my first professional career working in education and higher ed. And they sent me to Chicago. That first week I was hired. They're like, "You're going to Chicago," and I'm
What did they
like,
want you to do there?
my job, so the position I got was I was an admissions counselor, and
Mhm.
admissions counselor traveled, but I didn't know that I was going to be traveling that soon. And so when I first got hired on, and they showed me my office, it's like, "Hey, this is your space. Here's all your things, and we got to get you set up because you're going to Chicago on Friday." And I said, "Okay, all right, let's go." And I remember going to my first fair, it was the 100 Black Men Fair at the University of Chicago, and I was so nervous. I was in this big city by myself, and I didn't know anybody. Like I didn't know anybody at all at that. And this was my first time doing the event. Got there, so many people. Right on the right side of me was Harvard.
Mm.
Then on the left side was Johns Hopkins University. Then across from me, Spelman. And I'm Morehouse. I'm looking at all these different universities. I'm like, it's no way that I'll be successful here. In my mind, I'm like, I was so nervous. But then like I got that one student that started talking to me. We were just having a conversation. Then another one came. Then they brought their friends. And then I said, oh yeah, I could do this.
Mhm.
I could do this. Harvard was looking at me like, who is this guy? Where
What is this school?
where are you guys located at? So
Wow.
then I seen how like how I was able to help the students, and certain things that I was able to see that the students weren't able to see because I was on the administration side.
Mhm.
I seen a lot of ways where the students were being failed and how they were being let down, but the students didn't really know because they weren't on that side. And then with all of that, that's what sparked my passion and that fire to not only just be a student just constantly learning, being in
Right.
education, but to be someone that advocates for students and put them in the best position to where they're on an even playing field. So that's where that came from.
What kinds of things were you noticing that they were like missed opportunities? If you're comfortable.
Oh, I'm very comfortable.
Okay. I'm like, well, just give us a few of some of those missed opportunities you were seeing.
So it's so easy to get caught up in the cares of the world, and oftentimes as an educator, when you get caught up in the cares of the world, you're thinking about yourself, but you work in a position where you serve people, and the people you are serving are those that are the future.
Mhm.
And a lot of people that I've seen, they either stayed in positions too long and got burnt out and can't produce like they used to. What I mean by producing, really like helping students, really like caring to like give them the proper information that they need. Um, Other things, sort of like scholarships. Um, so many students were they missed out on scholarship opportunities. They also weren't given the correct information, and I noticed that especially in the university setting, people are so focused on numbers in education, especially in the universities, that they often forget that these are actual people. The students are human beings, and they're so focused on trying to hit their benchmarks that they're not actually focusing on what matters, and that's actually caring about the student, really showing them like that they genuinely want them to be successful.
Right.
So a lot of students miss out on opportunities, scholarships, even something as simple as academic advising. Like I was talking to one of my coworkers today, and she was just telling me how she's trying to like get her certification because she wants to be a teacher, and the university that she attended, they led her down the wrong path. And then now she's in a position where she needs a class in order to get her degree so she can get her certification. But she was misled. So I see that a lot. I see kids get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I seen so many people in certain positions where they can really truly make a difference, but they don't do it because they're more so focused on, I just gotta have this like 50-inch screen in my office. I need to have the best of carpet in my office, and all I care about is just going in front of the media so everybody can see me, and it's all about me. Look at me. Like I'm the top dog. I'm the boss. Instead of actually really helping the kids and helping the students.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of reminds me of just like anything in business, and this could have a college is a business at the end of the day, and it's always about the people. The people are the most important, and in this case, the people are the students. So if you can nurture those people and those relationships, then you will be successful as a school. But like you were saying, like at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about the kids. Or these are young adults, colleges, and even down to kids in high school. And that's inspiring. I love that answer by you.
So getting out, so from a marketing standpoint, that's where that's where you thought you were going. And then we end up in education.
Right.
So, where was I going with this?
Well, do you have something? I was going to lead it into like, what was that switch in your mind that led you into education?
That's where I was going with that. Yes.
Coming off, like, what was that switch? Is like, this is what I want to do.
So how long were you doing the admissions job with at the college level?
I worked in admissions for about 3 years.
Okay.
For 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And you went back to school, or you were in school while you were doing it?
I stayed in school, right?
Oh, you just stayed.
I just kept going. I just like powered through it. Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got that job working in admissions and just developing relationships with the students, and then like seeing how, especially minorities get taken advantage of the most, and international students. I seen that a lot, and that right there is what really like sparked that fire and that desire to work in education. And then also not only that, but the success that I got. Like it was easy for me. Like I had a lot of students and a lot of parents that always thanked me for like helping out their kid. You know what I'm saying?
That little bit goes so far, doesn't it? Just that gratitude. Anytime I get a thank you, I got like an email this morning, and it just it carries on the whole entire day. Like you're floating like on this. It's so impactful.
It is, and I seen a need for people that actually really care. I seen there's a huge need because I developed so many relationships with parents and students. Especially at the university level, because like they travel from different cities, and it's gotten to a point where like I can go to like Memphis, Tennessee, and I got some family, some parents that of my students that live down in Memphis, or I could travel to Chicago, or I could travel to Kansas City. Like I could travel so many places because I developed relationships in all these different areas. So
by going the extra mile with these.
Yeah, just because
goes a long way.
Because like I look at it as like, and this is just how I do business. Like I like to just develop a relationship with the person and really get to know them. And so that way they can feel for me like I genuinely care about them. Like I just don't want your business.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want a relationship.
Mhm.
And that's what I do with my students. And then even now, like with teaching, I believe that's really what helped me to be very successful even now is because like I focus on having a relationship with the students and really care about them. Like they
Right.
come in, I ask them, "How was your weekend? What did you do?" "Oh, I hung out with my friends. We went to the mall, and and then we went to my grandmom's house, and so like I like talk to them.
Take an
Mm-hmm.
interest, right?
Exactly.
So, where do you work? What do you teach? And how long have you been doing that?
So I've been teaching for about that's crazy for about 5 years now.
Mm.
In the St. Louis Public School District. I'm a secondary business teacher, and Vashon, that's we're known for like we have a rich history of like so many successful people coming out of our school. Also, like we have a strong alumni, and I love teaching there. I love the students, and I'm shouting them out right now.
You should.
Absolutely.
You should. I do it probably every episode.
And that's one of the, the Vashon High School. That's one
Yeah.
of the oldest high schools in St. Louis.
It is.
Is it the oldest or second? It's like
I think I think it's like the second oldest. I know Sumner is like the first black high school west of the Mississippi. So yeah,
history, deep history. There.
deep history. St. Louis Public Schools has.
We went there. We were on the court. We shot some hoops up there. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You did. Yeah.
And that they let us in, let us do that project, and that kind of leads me into what led you to starting the Young Professionals Academy, because there had to be something in your mind that you could do more than just what you could do in the classroom. You could affect more. So like, tell us about that moment where you're like, I want to do this. And was it a nonprofit right off the bat, or was it a group? Like, just tell us that story of you starting it.
Yeah, so it actually started out as just a project. It was just a group, a school organization that I started.
How long had you been? How long were you working when you started it? Was that your first year, third year?
That was so this was during the pandemic. So like the virtual learning phase. So I think that was like 2021.
Okay.
2021. So I started teaching in 17. So I think it was, I don't know, like my third or fourth year teaching. So that's when I actually started it. And it really just started off with just myself and about 26 students. And the reason why I started is because, one, I seen how the students, they really struggled with the virtual learning. I had so many students that like, man, like it's tough doing all these assignments on the computer. It's hard for me to keep up with it. I'm not really used to this. And that was something that was nationwide. The whole virtual learning, a lot of students struggle with that. And GPAs dropped drastically nationwide. So I told the students that I'm like, okay, because I was helping them. Like they would come to me and I would go over their grades, and that's something I always done. I will always do a review of their, like an analysis of their progress reports, and we have a database, an education database that keeps track of grades, and not just the report card, but like anytime the teachers put in grades from like an assignment they've done that week, it automatically reflects it. So it's like it's real time. So I'm like, wow, like these kids really need some help. So then another thing is that I also wanted to be a principal too as well. That's something that I still want to be a principal. That's why I'm going to St. Louis University right now to get my master's in educational leadership so that I can have my certification to be a principal K through 12. And I didn't have so like a lot of the jobs at our school are filled, the leadership positions, and one of the principals at one of the schools in our district, she told me, like, why don't you just start your own organization? Like if you can't like get a dean position or a department chair position, just start your own organization. I'm like, that's a really good idea. So then I thought about it. I'm like, what am I good at? helping kids get into college. That's something
That's your
that
background,
that's
right?
what I've been doing, and that's where these kids want to go. And what else am I good at? I'm good at doing school. I'm still there. So
Hmm.
and then the kids, they really struggled. So I'm like, I brought it to the kids. I'm like, hey, would you guys like extra help? Like, oh, I would love that. Like, I need some help. So I'm like, hey, I got this organization that I just started. It's called the Young Professionals Academy. It's a new program that I'm doing here at the school. Will you be interested? And I had like 26 kids who were like, yep, that's what I want to do.
That's a great turnout right off the bat. 26, that's a high number,
Those are those
I think.
relationships you built over those years, and they just said, whatever, let's do it.
Let's-
You know?
And then they like really wanted some help to get those GPAs up.
Mhm.
So that's how I started. And I was just, teaching them like, hey, like this is what you need to do to get your grades up. Just turn in all your assignments. First thing,
First thing.
complete the assignment, turn it in. And then I was telling them how to get extra credit and how to communicate with the teachers. I didn't realize that these kids didn't really know like how to communicate, because some things you just don't think of,
Mm-hmm.
like us as educators. You know what I mean?
It's a life skill that you do. Just need, like, if you need help, advocate for yourself.
Exactly.
Go ask. Yeah.
And then knowing how to do that, knowing how to communicate,
Mhm.
because you can't like go to the teacher and start screaming at the teacher. You have to like communicate it in a way that is professional. So that's why I taught them how to email the teachers and everything like that.
Mhm.
So
That's where the young
professional academy,
academy.
exactly. So I was teaching them those things, and then the crazy thing is they implemented those small basic strategies, and they came back and told me like, "Hey, Dr. Gibson, my grades are going up. My grades are going up." Wow. Like, I mean, just to hear the excitement in their voice, to hear that accomplishment, like
Mhm.
that did something to me. I'm like, well, this is great. And then it just grew from myself and 26 kids to having a staff of about 9 or 10 people and about 50 kids.
Huge.
It got to a point we couldn't even take kids. Like it grew outside of St. Louis Public Schools, outside of Vashon High School. Now we have kids from other school districts.
So how did that happen? Just word of mouth?
Word of mouth.
Okay.
Word of mouth. So many kids want help, and so many parents want help for their kids.
Mhm.
And where do they want to go? To the next level, college. Majority of them want to go to college or a trade. So, and also the main focus, and my main focus was helping my students to be in a position where they can get scholarships and grants to eliminate that debt factor.
Mhm.
Who doesn't want to go to college without having to worry about debt? Like, who doesn't want to go to a college where they have a full ride? Most people, everybody wants that. Everybody wants to be able to go to
Yeah.
college for free, and I have to worry about student loans. So automatically it was instant like attraction, because the students were like, oh my God, this is what I need. And the parents like, oh yeah, please like help my kid. So it was just word of mouth. And then we couldn't take that many people, because we were at the same time I'm trying to build up the staff, and it just went from there.
Mm. Wow. Go ahead.
So you mentioned going to college without debt. Is that the sole mission, or what would you say your mission statement, if you could just tell us the Young Professional Academy's short mission statement is to?
Help students in underserved communities go to college and graduate with little to no college debt. So the basis, the root is to build generational wealth.
Mhm.
You can't build wealth if you have debt. And most of our students, are African American. They come from low income areas, and African Americans right now they have the lowest household income at this moment in time. And a lot of our students, they come from those areas, and then they go to college. They have a mountain of debt, and they're being put back further. And so they're not. So the way I look at it is that a lot of our kids, they don't start out at an even playing field. So my goal was to put them in a position where they could start out on an even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And the fastest way to build wealth is to not have debt. You know what I mean? So if they don't have debt coming out of college, and then they get that first job, they land that first job in their career, they're making $50,000, then like they are able to build wealth and like save and invest. So that's the whole goal. Is like I just want to put kids in our community in a position where they can live comfortable lives, and that's something that also helps like curb the crime in our communities too as well. Where there's poverty, there's crime.
I love that.
So tell us about the process of getting this off the ground as, just to, let me backtrack for a moment. Now you are reaching out to other schools, like other schools and other students and other districts are involved. So where are you guys hosting those meetings? How often is that happening? How are they getting involved? Like, is there a form that they sign up? Like, how's that going?
Yeah. So, and the crazy thing is, so this year, like, it just really took off like a flood, literally, to the point where like getting so much interest, I couldn't really. It was It was overwhelming. Like I had to build a staff. Like I had to get people on my team to help me because it was just myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I really didn't have to reach out to the other school. They just came and was like, "Hey, we need help." And then somebody's like, "Oh, I know this kid that goes to this school." So, we have. I started out with paper forms.
In 2021?
Sign up.
With paper forms because we didn't have a website.
Yeah.
I literally started from scratch. $0.
Yeah.
We didn't have a website. And then like one of the kids helped me to set up an Instagram account. So Instagram, no money, no website. That's how we got started.
That's how you're rolling.
And then I just like made some applications and just printed out paper.
Yeah, you just
paper applications.
figuring it out as you go, right?
And I'm like, this is like what I got to work with. Like I don't really have much. So so we have a paper, we have an applicant. Now we have a website. Now we have a website where kids can actually fill out applications. But so that's how I got started. It's just like I'm like literally like going through Instagram, reaching out to people for help.
Yeah.
Just trying to connect with people, and I'm just like going to different events and stuff, like trying to like add people to my team because the kids were coming. Like that was something that I didn't really have to like work to get was the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It was the business side that I really had to work hard to build up, building our infrastructure so that way we have our system in place. So like we have our meetings, we call them YPA seminars. We have them during the school day, and we typically had them like twice a month, and the kids would come in during lunch, and we have a guest speaker there, and I buy pizza. I started out buying like cupcakes.
Yeah.
No, it was like a cake cookie from like Walmart.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cookie cake or something.
Yeah, because I liked them when I was in college. That was like one of the things I ate in the dorms. Those cookie cakes and so I'm like, man, so I'm like, I think the kids are like that, and I bought some soda. So like we had our YPA seminars with some like I buy like 50 cookies and like I buy like 50 sodas, and we have a guest speaker. And the kids come, just run through those cookies. And then we graduated to pizza. I was buying pizza. Then our numbers just grew. Like we had so many kids packed in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our YPA seminars, like I said, during the school day. Those are our meetings. And then on another program, the other program that we have is that's the college counseling program where like we work with the kids on filling out applications, scholarships, also making sure that the GPAs are up to par. So like our younger students, freshmen and sophomores, we're looking at grades because we know that they have to have a certain GPA to get into the schools that they want to get into. So I'm on them making sure like, hey, make sure you turn in all your assignments. Like I was doing that today, like checking grades, and I was very happy with what I seen.
That's amazing.
Very happy with what I seen, and then like those younger students that are hitting the GPA, getting them enrolled in the like a pre-college program where they can earn college credits. So that way, once they graduate high school,
That's done. Check. You don't have to worry about paying for it or doing it.
they get an associate's degree and a high school diploma
Yeah.
at the same time. So that's what we do with our younger students. And our older students, we have them filling out applications. And this is the college counseling program that we have, and scholarships, heavy scholarships. We grind it out with those scholarships, essays after essays after essays after essays. We actually had one student that got accepted to the University of Memphis, and she doesn't have to pay anything because she worked hard. She would come in my classroom, fill out those applications for scholarships and essays.
That is so incredible that you guys are doing that, because I mean, we didn't have like you had a meeting as a senior with your counselor.
Right.
They're like, all right, are you going to the military? Are you going to work? Or are you going to college? Okay, what college are you thinking of? Okay, that was like all they wanted to know. There was no process of writing an essay, a college admissions essay. There was no process of filling out an application. There was no process of, these are some scholarships you're eligible. Like, you heard people talk about, oh yeah,
Right.
there's scholarships. You never knew how to get them.
Exactly.
You never knew how to
And
get
some of their
them.
parents might have helped them, but in some cases,
And
their
a
parents
lot of
don't know
them-
either.
They don't know.
Oh, a lot of
So,
them don't know. And like
Right.
even
A lot of
filling
our
out the
parents didn't go to
FAFSA, like
college.
that.
Exactly. That's another thing. That's
That's
something
work.
else. And that's something else that we actually helped them with.
Mhm.
And by me having that higher ed background and working in admissions and like giving out scholarships, I know what to look for.
Mhm.
And I know how to cut the process down to where it's streamlined and it's not stressful. And my goal is to help these kids and the parents, to help them to identify, like, this is the money that you can get that you don't have to pay back. So let's get what we can get from the government,
That's right.
take that, and then let's go and get these scholarships and then put that together. And then my athletes, they get the help that they need to as well. Like, we talk about sports and the business side of it and why it's important to have that backup plan.
Mhm.
The backup plan, that's what people typically say, but that's really the foundation. Because like I was talking to one of my athletes, I was talking to a couple of my athletes today. We got like one kid that's being highly recruited right now. Sophomore, already got offers, D1 offers to play football. And I was just talking to them about the money and how, like, focusing on your finances, having your education, having that all set is going to put you in a position where you will be fine. Because 78% of NFL players, when they're done playing football, they're broke. And I used that education to open his eyes to focusing on making sure that he's putting himself in the best position to where he can use going to a D1 school on a full ride. And if he makes it to the NFL, make it to the NFL, making that money, use that to his advantage. So I was telling him about Chauncey Billups, how he owns like so many Wendy's. He's not playing basketball anymore, but he owns so many Wendy's. He's steady making money. I gave him an example of a guy saying this. I don't know how this like works, talking about like Netflix and stuff like that on like a podcast.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Because so anyway, I didn't know it was like any like copyright
No.
stuff.
No, not at all. No.
This is a guy on this show. It's like a documentary. I think it's Get Smart with Money or something like that. It's a football player, and he got released, and he was a free agent. So if you're not playing on a team, but you're still in
Active.
the NFL,
Yeah, you're still eligible to play and active. Yeah.
but they consider you a free agent. So his check stopped coming in. So his income was zero. But he had this beautiful home, these nice cars, but no money coming in. And he was getting very nervous, like, I need to get picked up by a team to pay for all of this stuff. So I use that as an example to teach the kid. I'm like, look at this. Like this guy, he didn't invest in his money. He didn't invest anything. And he spent most of his money on like cars and chains and clothes and shoes. But he had his net worth was
Negative.
shot.
Yeah, he had a negative net worth because everything was leased out.
Exactly. And he you see what I'm saying? He had to make payments and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, I teach my students what they need to put them in the best position to be successful. So that's what we do with the Young Professionals Academy. The root is building generational wealth.
Mm-hmm. So then going from, a passionate project to now you're a nonprofit.
Yes.
How did you get there?
Yes. So when I seen how we had so much interest from students, parents, and I noticed how the administrators and teachers were telling me this is good, this is something that we need. And then I was looking okay, this is good. That's good. I'm glad I'm hearing this good feedback. But then I started thinking about different things that I wanted to do with the students. I'm like, this is good, but I want to take them outside of the classroom. I really want to be able to do more. I want to be in a position where I can give them scholarships, but it took money. I'm like, it's going to take us money to do these things. So I decided to turn our program into a nonprofit organization. So now we're a 501c3. So we can actually receive donations and all that good stuff now. Whereas before, we were able to receive it, but those sponsorships, because you got to think about it, the business, marketing stuff, that was my thing in college. So I'm like, I would like to do partnerships, get, corporate sponsors and all of that good stuff to help with my organization. And doing research, I seen that I needed to at least have that, be a nonprofit. Nonprofits really.
So those donations could be tax deductible for that business.
Exactly.
And they would be more likely to give more and partner with what you're doing.
And it legitimizes you too as well.
Mm-hmm.
When people see that 501c3, oh yeah.
Yeah, you went through all the steps and you've provided all the paperwork needed to become, So what was that feeling like when you got that?
Man, so here's the crazy thing, doing research and talking to people. I was like, man, I was looking, I'm like, wow, it costs this much to become a nonprofit? Really? I gotta pay thousands of dollars? Talking to people, they were telling me, yeah, it's gonna cost you this much. I can help you, but you gotta pay me X amount of dollars and then you'll be a nonprofit. So I'm an educator. And also at the same time, I'm also a learner. I love school. I'm always
lifelong
researching.
Learner.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a lifelong learner. So just doing research, I'm like, I could do this myself. So I went through the whole process, didn't hire an attorney or anything like that. Just did the research online and filled out all the paperwork, went through the IRS, did all of that stuff. And that's all I needed to do. That's it. And so I even help other people with that process to save them from spending thousands of dollars just to get the paperwork done. So it felt amazing. Yeah. It felt pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I think when we first met at the networking event, and you were telling me about, I think you met before then, and then at the networking event the next day, or you were there early.
I think you met before that.
It was right before then.
We talked.
It was a few days before, because I met you at the networking event that day. I remember.
Yeah, and just telling me about it, and you had one post on Instagram at that time, and now to see you grow and build your media team out and build your crew out, and just see the impact and getting to meet your kids, bringing them out, was special. So if you guys didn't know, the Bucket List Backpack Club that we dropped with Little Bit Foundation, we partnered up with Mike and a few of his people that are in the YPA. Got to do a photo shoot at Kinlock Park. We got to sweat it out. That was the hottest year of the day. It
really was.
We went to Vashon High School, did a whole video. We'll drop the video when we post this too, so that people can see that as well. But that was a cool moment for those kids, though, I think.
Oh, it was.
Well, on top of it, they got to be in the shoot.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Models.
say to their friends, like, hey, check me, like the clout of that. And then they got to come up and tour your office, and you had that whole conversation with them of like, you know, like this is what you could work in a place like this one day. And
That's right.
we got to eat lunch with them and ask each of them, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, one of them had her own business, and like
Yeah.
they just, these are kids and they have big picture ideas for what they,
That's
you know,
right.
what they want for their lives. So you're doing the work. We can see it.
We see it firsthand, and you guys need to check it out. I mean, it's what you're doing is inspiring. I'm sure by the time this time next year, like you probably can't even fathom where you're going to be at. I mean, it's hard to even imagine.
Yeah, it is, because I'm
The
like,
growth
I'm
in these
in
2
it.
years have been crazy.
That's right, because I'm in it right now. But yeah, that was a great experience, and that's the thing. Like another aspect with YPA, the Young Professionals Academy, bringing the community, and including them in what we're doing, because the kids they feel great to know that there's somebody like outside of the school, outside of these walls, that actually really care, and it creates like a great experience, and it gives them other options. Cause like I could do that. I met Marissa Farrell, like I could be like her one day. I met Luke. I could be like Luke one day. So like, and that's the whole goal. That's what I want to do. Bring more entrepreneurs, great people like you all, and to get you guys involved, with different people involved, so they can meet the kids and the kids can meet them. And I think that's really what this city needs, because a lot of the kids that are committing crimes, they aren't meeting great people like you. They aren't meeting people,
A mentor like yourself, or a business owner,
whether
it be Jason that owns the donut shop, or
Jason,
whatever.
Strange Donuts, or Aaron Archipero, or or Brad and STL. They're not meeting these different people. Or Ben Hillman. They're not.
Yeah.
They say, like, imagine if these kids that are committing the crimes are meeting people like you guys. How different would our city be? How different would our city be? Like, we just lost one of our kids. He got shot not too long ago by the police. That was one of our kids, 16 years old.
Sorry to hear that.
And he was actually one of my students. And imagine if he had like more people in his corner to support him.
Because it starts with the youth. And I say this to my kids all the time. I'm like, you know, we just did open house, and I told the parents, I'm like, I am hard on your kids, because they're going out into the real world in 2 years, 3 years.
Right.
And I want them to be outstanding citizens.
Exactly.
And I want to work with you to get your kid there. And they're, you know, like right now, like last year I had all freshmen. This year I have all sophomores and one freshman class. All my sophomores, I had like 10 kids come see me on the first day of school just to give me love. And, you know, it's like they thought I was hard on them last year. And here we are a year later, months later, and they're like, we appreciate you. We respect you. We understand what you're doing for us. And so like, that's why I'm going to continue to be hard on them, because as I see the end result, like it's always out of love. And, you know, just to have the parents say like, you have full permission. I love that, you know, because we got to work as a team. So these kids are going out into the real world. And so to have, you know, a positive influence, a mentor, someone looking out for them, that could prevent a lot of, you know, like you're saying, the crime that happens.
And you can see it, you can be it, you know, that's all it takes, you know, and
that's right.
Real life examples. So
that's right. That's exactly right.
So I know you have, so if you ever have a seminar after school hours, let me know. I'm there. Because I know you asked me to do one and I wasn't able to make it, which is a bummer. I would love to get the chance.
Yeah, the girl boss event.
Yes,
yeah,
I would
that
love
was
to do something like that.
Yeah, that was huge for us. That really, like, that Corey Bush came. We had like quite a few.
Corey Bush.
Yeah, we had
she
quite
came out to the school.
Yeah, for the girl boss event.
Wow.
Girl boss.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tell
me about that.
Yeah, and yeah.
Couldn't get off work.
But
yeah.
I mean, there's still more opportunities.
Do
you do anything like after school? You know, I don't know, 2:30. I'm there.
And then too, like that, like remember I was talking about like doing things outside of the school. So like, also having events outside of the school. Like that's something that we are also planning on doing.
Yeah.
And keeping them engaged during the summer, keeping those summer months engaged, because a lot of things happen in the summer.
That's right.
Yeah, and it is important to stay on top of them in the summers. They're not getting out of that. That routine it's crucial. So when you are pulling those people for the seminars, like obviously these are mentors, and so like who are you looking at? Like what kind of person?
That's good.
For
That's a
the
good
kids?
question. So like I look at for one, I've been using Instagram a lot.
Mhm.
Like that's been my
It's a
biggest
good
tool.
tool.
That's been my biggest tool. And I look at like what people are doing in the community. I usually get those entrepreneurs that are really like out in the community, because to me it shows me that they actually like care about St. Louis, and like I see how successful they are. I'm like, that'd be a good person. And then see what kind of achievements that they have. So like that's how I kind of like go about picking the people, and then too also like who I think that the kids will be interested in
Yeah.
meeting. Like, so that's how I pretty much go about it.
Mhm.
And but I don't really have like that much of a science to it. Like who's out here doing some dope stuff. Like
Mhm.
I gotta bring who's hot right now.
Mhm.
Do
Let
they
me
just
bring 'em
ask
in.
question? Like, is it just like the speaker talks and then the kids like they do like a Q&A or like?
So yeah, so that's how we do it. Like the speaker talks, and then like we open it up for a Q&A.
Okay.
The crazy thing is, what I like, it's been like popping, to where like we always run out of time
Yeah.
because everybody's just it's just and it-
Nobody wants to leave.
Nobody
Everybody's
wants
feeding
to
off the
leave.
I got a
energy.
question.
Yeah.
because
And that's how you want it. That's what
that's
you
how I
want.
want it.
Yeah.
I try to make like I like to
fun.
have an intimate setting, and I make sure that the environment is emotional. Like that's my thing. Like because when it's emotional, then like people tend to like open up and draw, and like the people that I bring in, like, oh, these kids, oh, I love them, oh my god, and then you have the students like, oh my god, I really want to be like her, I really want to be like him, oh my god, like and they like talk towards the end, and we always run out of time. So like that's how we tend to do things. So yeah.
And the rest just takes care of itself.
It just takes care. I just pull the strings. That's all I do.
Grab some pizzas, grab some cakes and soda, and then set it up. And
That's all I do is pull the strings.
So do you want to shout out any mentors or any partnerships that you have?
So
I don't know if you have any. I think a few, right?
yeah, we do have
Okay.
some.
Shout
We do
it
have some.
out.
We do have some partners. So definitely shout out Jason Strange Donuts. Shout out to Numa. Numa built our website. They're actually a SEO and web design company out in Colorado. So shout out to Numa. Shout out to Strange Donuts again.
we just ate some before the show.
Shout out to Salt and Smoke. Also, shout out to Hitch Corporation. They've been backing us financially. Also, shout out to Trio. They've been helping with the kids with the college. So they actually have a college fair coming up, and they were actually excited. Tell me, Dr. Gibson, we have our college fair on Monday. Also, I'm trying to think of.
I know it's hard.
Trying to think of all of them.
And if you miss them, we
can
always
shout them out
tag
later.
'em.
Yeah, we can put a post.
But
together
those are the main ones. Oh, and St. Louis University School of Education.
Lovely. So what are some of the challenges that you've had? I mean, I know it's a passion project, but this is in the works still. And
It is
going. So what are some challenges?
Man, that's a great question, and that's something that I focus on, because like focusing on those challenges is what like and like get them to where like they're no longer a challenge. Is like my goal is to like I look at them as hurdles. So one of the things that's been a challenge is like money, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, and then another challenge is like having the time to do everything. Time is a challenge, because I got so much going on. Like, not only am I running this organization, but I teach high school students. I'm also running another organization at St. Louis University for graduate students called the Graduate Student Association, which I'm the president of, which Luke, you were there.
During your
During
interview or your
my presidential statement.
I got on the call. That might have sealed the deal. Maybe I don't know.
He's
like, here, come say something to him. I was like, hey guys,
that was a great look. That's my marketing. That's my marketing that kicked in. That marketing acumen. But that was actually the most controversial election.
Yeah,
I think I got a very controversial presidential. I got a very controversial presidential term that I'm serving at this moment in time.
Hey, it happens.
But I think the good thing about it, and shout out to Jason at Northwest Coffee, because I was talking to him over the weekend. I was doing some homework at his shop, and he was just checking. I'm like, hey man, how's it going? Everything like this. Like, I actually rented out his coffee shop earlier this year for one of our events for SLU, and this is when I was a vice president. So now I'm a president, and like how's everything going on? How's everything going now? And I'm like, man, it's hard. It's hard because I'm African American male, and I'm dealing with so many different things based on my identity, and like all these hurdles that's been placed before me just based off my identity. And he told me something like, these were the main words that he used that really resonated with me. He said, man, just lean into it. Just lean into it. I'm like, when he said that, I'm like, something in me just like a fire just like got lit. Almost like when I had like a football game and like I'm like hyped up. I'm like, yeah, I'm leaning into this. Oh yeah, I want to. And he said, then the next words he said, because I'm the type of person, I want all the smoke. And I said, I want all the smoke too. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
You felt like you're running out that tunnel again.
Oh yeah.
Now you're running out that tunnel. So
it's just just those simple words that he said that really like made a big difference. I'm like, oh yeah, I want all the smoke. I definitely want all the smoke.
I want to shake it up. You're a mover and shaker, and you're shaking up the education system. You're shaking up the way that the youth act. So it's inspiring. That's inspiring that Jason said that. That's a great place too to have an event. I love that spot over there.
It is, and he's a great guy too as well. And I'm like, my heart is in the right place. Like, I'm in a position to serve and help students, just like with the Young Professionals Academy. It's not for me, like, so people can look at me and like, oh, wow, you're the president. Look at you. You're so cool. Like, I don't care about that stuff. Like, it comes with it. But, I mean, that's not important because, like, that stuff fades away. And people will forget you, like, next year. So, like, it's not a big deal to me. What's a big deal to me is making an impact on that campus and helping students. So shout out to Jason for that. And I also want to shout out somebody else too as well. My mentor, the one that I told you about, that really kicked this thing off with the whole education thing, and like really finding out what my purpose actually is, and like the path that I know God wants me to go down. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is a part of my purpose, a part of my plan. He's my mentor that's been like helping me through college all the way to now, like helping me in my professional career. He's always been looking out for me, and I talk to him a lot. Man of great wisdom. He's my pastor. His name is Lonnie Bragg. Always looking out for me, and really like helped me to be able to overcome the different challenges that I have to face as a Black man in a professional world, and wanting to like climb up the ladder. So, and that's what I try to do with the students, like what he's giving me, like giving it to these students, because a lot of my students, they are just in their community. Like, they don't engage with people outside of the Black community, because that's all they know. Some of them don't even leave like their neighborhood. They just go to school and just be in the neighborhood. That's it. And like my goal is to put them in a position where like they understand that like you have to know how to move out here. It's not school is not about just like books. And that was my question at the beginning of the school. I'm like, what is education? And they said, oh, well, it's coming to school. And I showed them on my smart board. I'm like, the definition, we broke it down. I'm like, it's an enlightening experience. So you get educated every day just by living life. It's not just coming here to school. It's not opening books. It's about living and learning. That's what education is. And I try to get my kids to understand that you need to broaden your horizon. So that way you will know how to interact with different people. Because if you know how to interact with different people, no matter like where they come from, who they are, that will help you. That's a great tool because it'll put you in positions where like you have open doors and opportunities that you wouldn't have had. So, yeah, I just wanted to just
Well said.
put that out there.
What are some misconceptions about education or, that you would challenge, that you would, just throw out there? What are some misconceptions and.
So, one thing I pointed this out to my students, when you look at schools today, right, 2022, and then you look at schools in the 1800s, you don't really see that much of a difference. You see it with a Promethean board or a smart board, maybe a laptop or an iPad. But, I mean, the structure is pretty much the same. It hasn't really changed much. But then when you look at the companies like Google, Facebook now is Meta, or Apple, they have a unconventional like way of doing things. Like you look at the Google headquarters, they have like different like little what's those things called what's those things called that you can sit on and like on the floor.
Yeah, they have like
beanie bags.
Beanie bags, nap pods. They have like little massage therapists, like all types of crazy things.
All that different stuff.
Remote work, 4-day work weeks.
They got all these different
unlimited
perks.
vacation.
Like, yeah, exactly.
I already know all of it.
Right. You know, like they got all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and
to make it a great place to be productive.
To make it a great place. But then school is like, it's still the way it was, like, for the most part, back in like the 18th century. Why aren't we making schools the way that these companies are operating in the 21st century?
To encourage like thinking and just being comfortable in your workspace. Yeah.
Exactly.
More inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, another misconception. This is a big one, and I really think that I believe that this is where we miss out as it relates to our community, like Black men. Going through school, I was always told by my teachers, "Oh, man, I hate my job. I hate it. It sucks. I don't get paid enough money. Like I don't get paid anything." So as a kid hearing that, and then being in high school as a teenager hearing it, I'm thinking, well, that's the last thing that I want to do. I don't want to be a teacher, because if I'm a teacher and I can't like pay my bills or be able to have enough money to eat, what's the point? So a lot of young African-American men miss out on it because they think, one, you don't make enough money. Two, that's a job for women. And thus we don't have that many African-American men represent less than 2% of the teachers in the United States of America. But if you look at the population of our boys in our grade schools in America, it exceeds that like exponentially. You know what I mean? So imagine if we had more African-American men in education, how that can change things. And this is actually what I did my study on, like African-American male in mentorship. Like, I discovered this in my study, like, and it sparked it got me thinking. So when you look at our sports, African-American males are doing great in basketball, football, but look, they have African-American men coaches. And those coaches are like father figures to them. And that same kid that's in the classroom that's not behaving the way he should, once that coach talks to him, his whole everything straightens up. So they thrive in those areas. So you got the NBA, NFL. So like when I talk to a lot of my African American boys, they say, I want to be a football player. I want to be a basketball player. Even with music, they see a lot of black men thriving with music and rap, all of that stuff. So like they want to gravitate to those areas where they see there are people that look exactly like them and are successful. So imagine if we had more African American male teachers. How well would those African American boys perform in the classroom? How much would they achieve if they see somebody that looks like them? So that's another misconception. Like education, like working in education, is not just for women. Being a teacher, that's not a feminine job. Also, like teachers, no, we don't get paid as much as a doctor would, but you have like other positions. Like I know teachers, one that's been teaching for years, they getting paid almost as much as a principal. In some cases, more than some of the principals, especially like assistant principals. And then there are other positions too as well. You don't have to just be a teacher. You can move up to be an assistant principal, and you can move up to be a principal, and then now you get into the 6-figure range. Then you move up to be like a director, or you could be a assistant superintendent. There are many different positions within education. You see what I'm saying? Like, so that's a big misconception. Like a lot of people look at teaching as like, oh, well, you guys are dirt poor. That's not the case.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't you mention a stat to me about teacher millionaires, or was that you or somebody else?
Oh,
like a lot of teachers have built a $1 million net worth over
there. Yeah, exactly. I did tell you that. I told you that. Like the top 3 millionaires are one, I think it was engineers, 2 accountants, and 3 teachers, making $50,000 a year. And like you have a teacher that marries a teacher, and that, you know, they have like, of course, 50-50, that's $100,000 household income, but making $50,000 a year, able to build up $1 million network through their like retirement, investments, savings, because teachers get a pretty good retirement plan, and then investing in a 403b, and then here's the big thing: not having no student loans, like having that, like not the no debt factor, so no student loans, all that paid off, or being able to go to college on a, you know, where they either pay, like some teachers actually just worked hard and just paid their way through college.
Yeah. 100%. All right, we're going to turn it and then slowly start ending. But last, I think, heavy question would be, like, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs?
Wow, that's a good question, because I consider myself a young entrepreneur still trying to make it. Like Luke said, Mike, you're taking pictures with everybody.
Always trying, bro. We're always grinding.
always grinding. So it's like, it's funny because like people, like I've been getting a lot of good feedback, and like, man, you got something great. You're doing some great things. Wow. Like I really like what you're doing. How could I do that? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I look at you guys. I look at a lot of the people I meet through you guys. I'm like, I'm nowhere near that yet. You know what I mean? But it's like, you're in the grind. So it's kind of hard to see like how far you've actually like came. You know what I mean? So what I would tell young entrepreneurs is just to like me and again, like I have my own beliefs as it relates to like God and everything like that. Like I believe you got to keep God first. All the things that we've accomplished, all we had was just that one like sponsorship check, and we were able to do what we've done with $1,000. Our students had between like scholarships and grants, $600,000 in scholarships and grants, and that's only on $1,000.
That's a good return.
That's it. Only on $1,000, and which we didn't really have much to really like spend it on. But I mean, because we were trying to like keep as much as possible because all we had was just 1,000. To just like we had a lot of people that actually really helped us out a lot and donated different things. I will tell young entrepreneurs, like, you gotta just keep grinding. You gotta like just be dedicated and be hungry and humble, and just also like have people that are already doing what you're doing that's successful. Get around those people, develop relationships with them, be willing to listen and learn, and just be a student. Like when I come down to Spark and I like talk to Luke, cracks his jokes and stuff like that. I'm like, I take it for right now because I'm trying to learn. But later on, that's when I really start bringing the heat.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. I love that the being hungry thing, and I almost say be obsessed. Like, be obsessed with getting better every single day, and like you said, finding yourself in rooms where you feel uncomfortable, because those rooms that you feel uncomfortable at are the ones that you make the most progress in.
Right, exactly.
I don't want to be the most successful person in any room at any given time, because that's what I like that event we had. We had a lot of business owners, a lot of people you wouldn't even know what they're wearing. Doesn't matter what they're wearing. Doesn't matter.
That's right.
What they're eating, what they're drinking. It doesn't matter. Like, you look over, like, that could be somebody that could change the trajectory of your business just by talking to that person. And that's what you do. You shoot your shot.
I shoot it. You can't never be afraid you can't be afraid to shoot your shot. Like, and that's what I always done. Like, I'm not afraid of anybody or anything. So I'm like, well, I mean, what the worst they can do is just say no. I'm like, okay, you don't like to help kids. Okay, fine. You don't care about them. Okay. So, all right. That's why they doing what they doing now. Robbing folks and breaking all these cars because you don't care. Okay. Right. That's fine. But yeah, I'm always shooting my shot all the time. And I think too, that's also what helped me to like develop relationships with people like Jason. And and you guys definitely, because like I just reached out to you through Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is. It's sometimes just as simple as a DM, cold email, phone call. Not many phone calls anymore, but mostly just like, a DM. Slide in and see what happens. And it's inspiring. But, it is the STL Bucket List show. So we always have to shout out St. Louis. So tell us about some of your favorite spots in St. Louis. We usually tell people like bucket list items, like what are a couple favorite places to eat? Maybe a park, coffee shop. Just shout out a couple of your few favorite spots in St. Louis.
I love this. Yeah, I love this. So I'm actually going to go to Chicken Out when I leave here.
Okay.
So that's been my that Chicken
Kirkwood
Out.
one.
Oh, that's the closest one. I told myself like I'm going to Chicken Out when I leave.
That's the best.
Shout out Ben. Ben's gonna be coming on the show soon too.
Yeah.
Shout out Ben. Shout out Ben. I love the High Point. I love I like Sugar Fire. I love Salt and Smoke. Oh my God.
That's good.
Man, the rev some Salt and Smoke.
I used to work there.
Oh, you did?
I worked at the one on Hampton.
Oh, really?
And then when, pandemic happened, that's when we stopped. But then I got a job teaching, so I never went back. But they were great, and they took care of their employees during the pandemic too.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Salt and Smoke.
Those brisket toasted ravs.
Oh, I gotta try that, man.
Get those. Those are I think about them every day.
Oh wow.
They're expensive, but you can save money by getting them as a side.
Yes.
It just adds a couple dollars to your meal, but like they're fire.
I gotta try that.
Get 'em.
But so like those are some of the spots I like to eat at. I'm a foodie too. Like that's why I like what Brad and Ace Eats and Epic Eats. That's why I like what they do.
Show love to local restaurants and
I just
give you ideas because like you're like, I didn't even know that was over there. I'm gonna go try that spot.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just what I like to I like different spots. And then too I like repping St. Louis as well. I tried it's a restaurant that sells like salami. It's on the hill. I don't
Joya's?
Joya's, yes.
Yeah, you got a hat from the party, that hot salami hat? That's from
Yeah.
Joya's.
Oh, perfect.
They made the custom hats.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a buddy of mine that was in my organization at SLU,
Yeah.
he graduated, he told me about this spot. He took me there.
That hot salami is
I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
100 years old. Been there
This
for
is
100 years. Yeah.
Amazing. On the luxury end, like if I'm like going somewhere like really, really like, I'm trying to impress somebody.
Date
and
night.
Ooh.
Or like something like that, or like I'm trying to wine and dine somebody because I want to get this business deal or whatever. Carnivore, man.
Yeah, that's in the Hill too.
Yeah, that
I haven't been there.
Yeah, we have tacos from there.
Yes,
on the patio.
was that what that was?
Yeah.
Yes.
Carnivore.
Yeah.
They got some great steaks. I love steaks, and lobsters.
Love it.
That's my thing. So like carnivore, and then for the tacos, I love going to Mission Taco.
Mm-hmm.
You got a gift card from Mission Taco in that bag too.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I seen that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I seen it. I got it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was just like you just go in. I
That's
guess
a
they tell
$10
me.
gift card,
Oh,
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's about
That's
a half a meal. I
queso.
usually spend 20 because I get hella
Nice.
tacos
That's
from
queso
there.
and what else?
Queso.
Street corn.
Street corn, yeah, some sides, maybe a margarita if it's a Friday. You never know.
nice,
Yourself.
nice. Okay, yeah, man. That's why y'all dope. So
Plugged in.
STO bucket list. Shout out to STO bucket list.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you making the time, and I know I learned a lot from this episode. I'm sure you did as
I
well.
enjoyed talking to you. Educator to educator. It's always a joy.
Yeah, shout out education and what Mike's doing, what Dr. Gibson's doing is changing really the world one student at a time. Like literally, like you're changing the world, and sometimes we got advice from someone when we got married to like step back from your event and look at everybody that's there. So next time you do an event, just go to the corner and just look and just
Look at how the kids. I mean, I know you're already doing that, but just look at.
Just take a minute.
Look at the speaker. Look at the kids engaged. Look at the people that you brought in a room, and take that in.
and
Really.
say I did that.
That's a good point. I'll
God
definitely
did
try
that.
it. Yeah, I'll try that out. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
That's
nice.
amazing.
I did it at the party the other night
You
for a
did.
second. Just step back and like this many people showed up because of this thing we made up a long time ago for fun, and you just made this group. You never thought it would be what it is. Sometimes those are when the best ideas happens because your intentions were clear when you did it, and it turns into this amazing nonprofit that's only not even a year old, the actual nonprofit itself.
Right. It's not.
So you have
How
a lot
can
of time.
people support you? Where can they find you? Donate anything.
So they can find us on the Young Professionals Academy on Instagram. So at the Young Professionals Academy, it's literally like spelled the way it said, the Young Professionals Academy on Instagram. Our website, ypastl.com. And so like my email is the Young Professionals Academy @gmail.com. So like if you'd like to donate, just like DM us or shoot me an email, because we're still building our infrastructure on like how to like get these like electronic transactions processed and all of that good stuff. So if somebody out there that know how to do that stuff and they have that type of service and willing to help, hey, we can use it. We're also always looking for volunteers too as well. And yeah, so if you got kids that need help, let us know. So website ypastl.com, Instagram, the Young Professionals Academy.
Okay. And guys, just some of the best ways to do it, even if you can't donate or volunteer, is just spread awareness. Click follow. And if you see something you resonate with, just share it or just share it with someone who might need it. And especially with this episode, you guys can reach out to us if you want to get in touch with Dr. Gibson and all the stuff that he's doing. And yeah, we're just thankful that he came on today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know it's hard as educators. We all have busy schedules, so I'm glad we were able to get it.
Hey, made it work. A little
Yeah,
after school delight, and got it, made it work, and had a great podcast episode. And thank you to Half Coast Studios for hosting an amazing show, and our friends over at Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. They're the largest arts foundation in St. Louis that funds not only art institutions, but they also fund individual artists for certain projects. So they're doing a lot to change the way we see St. Louis, and we're trying to do our part in changing the way that people see St. Louis as well. So give it up for Dr. Mike Gibson. Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And we'll catch you guys next Wednesday.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.